EFRA European Tour here on RC Racing TV has headed as far north in Europe as we'll go this year to Trelleborg in the south of Sweden for the 1/10th Electric Off-Road Two-Wheel Drive Championships, brought to you by Team Durango, VRC Pro and JConcepts. We're in an ice rink, and yes, all of the dirt has been trucked in from the inside. Here's how they line up. Tom Cockerell is on position 10 on the Schumacher. From Finland, the associated driver Petri Strom is on position 9. Position 8, Joona Haatanen, also a Finn, also associated. Kyosho from Sweden, David Rannefalk is in position 7. On 6, David Matai Sanchez from Spain on the Yokomo. 2 more associateds next. First, for position 5, Kari Salmela. And in position 4, Neil Cragg from the UK. At the top 3, in position 3, the Team C of Hubert or Hupo Honigel. In second place, the Durango of German Jorn Neumann. And the best of the qualifiers from the Great Britain team, the Yokomo of Lee Martin. So the pressure all on the pole man, and Lee Martin on the Yokomo gets away. That's the most important thing to do. You've done all the hard work in qualifying, get a good start and try and get a little bit of a gap early on in this first of potentially 3 finals. Remember, problems down at the back of the field there, but it hasn't affected Lee Martin, who's got away. Best 2 finishes to count. And we have seen in the past, of course, the pole man being able to drive away, take 2 victories and then steps aside and lets everyone else battle for the vice champion's position for second place in the meeting. Well, that happened today here in Sweden in our Team Durango, VRC Pro and JConcepts coverage of this EFRA 1/10th Electric Off-Roads. We're watching the two-wheel drives here on this brilliant circuit. I mean, isn't it just a fantastic piece of engineering to bring this dirt inside? We've got climate and temperature controlled here. This is the way forward. Could race any time of the year, whatever it's doing outside. And the drivers have been very complimentary about this surface. Honigel into second place now, as we can see from those pictures. Hubert Honigel, Hupo, and he's just lost it again there to the man who's defending his championship, let's not forget. Jorn Neumann on the Durango is the man who has this trophy, and he'll be reluctant to give it up here in Trelleborg in the south of Sweden. It is a little bit bumpy, even on the line away from the whoops. As you can see, it's dried out, obviously, as we are indoors. 1 or 2 cracks, as you can see there at the hairpin. But generally speaking, I think this has been a success this week, and the drivers certainly like it. Fastest part of the circuit now. Lee Martin leading. This is the battle for second. At the moment, so Jorn Neumann is just stamping his authority there, but they're not closing down on the leader at all. Lee's just got to keep it going. The light colour with the red on the back is Neil Cragg on the associated in 4th position. There he is, beginning to pressure for 3rd there. That is our second place driver. Where's the leader? Answer, out of sight. He's just chilling out at the front, doesn't have to worry himself too much, and Lee's a good enough driver to be able to pace himself here. Time's not really of the essence, it's about finishing ahead of the pack, getting that first victory. And again, battles for 3rd position, and that is Neil Cragg going through into 3rd position there. As Salmela there, Kari Salmela, the Finn on the associated, just getting a shot of the green rear end of the 4 Buggy. Also coming up, so 3rd, 4th and 5th actually, still in with a shout. Oh, I was just about to say, was that our leader being picked up by a marshal, and he's made 2 mistakes in the space of, well, 2 corners. In fact, 2 straights, it was 2 sets of whoops. And Neumann is leading now, so he has got one hand back on the trophy that's already on his sideboard back in Germany. Made a little mistake there, but he will settle down quickly. He is a big event driver, isn't he, Jorn Neumann? Shown to be cool, calm and collected. But can Lee Martin put the pressure back on? He'll be quietly kicking himself, will Lee, because he has done the hard work in all of the practice sessions, got himself on pole and then failed to capitalise as it stands at the moment. Leading 2 have broken away just again a little bit from the chasing pack. Getting a bit tight for 3rd on down over, but this is where the battle is at the moment as they go across what will be the finish line and head through the fastest part of the circuit. And still Jorn Neumann then on the Durango leads it. Now this is where Lee challenged last time, and it's where he does it again. He likes that move. There's a little bit of side-by-side contact. I think that's okay. Looking across to the part of the course, and he seems happy with that. That was incidental contact as the Durango went spinning through the air, but it has slowed them down, look. Now, who is that? Is that Ronner Falk behind him? I think it is. He's a lap down. Don't worry about that. That is a car that is not in the battle. For a moment, I thought it was Salmella, but Salmella's a bit further back. So the leaders then, as we come into the closing stages of this first final of the EFRA 1/10 electric off-road two-wheel drive, and again a mistake by Martin. And Neumann goes through, and Neumann makes a mistake. Oh, does no one want to win this first final? Oh, dear me. Well, Lee Martin, if he does get the decision here, will count his blessings, because he's done enough to have dropped way down the field, but no one else has capitalised. Last lap now, and they've come together. Runnefeld doesn't come through and unlap himself. He's staying out of the way. And it looked like Jorn Neumann waited there as well. But the top four are almost together. Neumann goes off the circuit. They come into the final circuit. Oh, right into the corner. I think it's Lee Martin that's got it. But who's come through in second? Honeygall goes through. Honeygall goes through into second place by eye. But he's been given a 5-second penalty. So Lee Martin wins the first final of the 1/10 two-wheel drives from Neil Cragg, Carrie Salmella in third place, from Neumann and Hupo Honeygall down to fifth. So the second leg of the A final gets underway. The equation for the poleman Lee Martin, who's got away nicely, is simple: win it, and he's European champion for 2014. Anything less than that, and we will go to a third and deciding final leg. As we've got one or two problems. There's David Runnefeld again, who was involved in that. He got lapped in the first heat, and we don't see that very often. So Lee Martin, can he get rid of the inconsistencies that plagued him in that first final? And he goes out onto the fastest part of the circuit. He is a former champion, twice a former champion, in 11 and 12, of course. The man behind him, Jorn Neumann, is the current champion. So plenty of experience at the front of the field, plenty of big race temperaments, you would think. But both of these guys made really, really fundamental errors in that first final, and both of them made them whilst they were leading. And that is something, as I said, which is a little bit unusual, as the Yokomo of Lee Martin then leads it from the Durango of Jorn Neumann in second place. Our JConcepts VRC Pro and Team Durango coverage of the EFRA 1/10 two-wheel drive Euros here in Sweden. The culmination of a fabulous week of racing, and the leader has made a mistake again. Martin just went completely wild there on that technical section, lost control of the Yokomo, drifted wide. He actually did a pretty good job of recovering, but the damage was done by then, and Jorn Neumann goes through into the lead, just balancing the buggy in flight there. You could see him just give it a blip of throttle as he was in the air, just to get that vehicle straightened up. Top speed through there, a little bit of understeer, a bit of push through that left-hander. Got to get it really squared up before you hit the whoops. And Lee Martin, as he did in the first leg, making the mistake and then immediately coming back almost as if the red mist has descended and trying to get it all back in the next couple of corners. The front wheels just pattering across the dirt here, indoors on the ice rink at Trelleborg. And being indoors, of course, those of you with long memories will know that this event has suffered from the weather conditions in the last 4 years when we have had rain. No worries about this here in Trelleborg. I do think this is a fabulous way forward, and the guys who've trucked in all of the dirt and built the circuit have done a great job, and it is rather nice conditions to be working in as well for not only us but the drivers and their mechanics as well. This is the battle for the lead. And Jorn Neumann then leading it out on the Durango, as this little technical section right in the middle of the circuit with two sets of whoops close by and a tight left-hander has been catching more than the odd one or two drivers out, including some of these experienced guys at the front. Not seeing much of the battle for third at the moment, but don't worry about that, because it's all about the leaders. Lee Martin can win the championship by nicking back that lead that at the moment his arch enemy, the German, on the Durango has got, and it's side by side, tremendous racing. But for the moment, the attack is repelled by our German leader. He goes over. Now that was a mistake. That wasn't a touch by second place, so he will keep on racing. If that had been a wheel-to-wheel touch, you would have seen the second place car just drop away and not make the overtaking manoeuvre, not take advantage. But that is a beautiful manoeuvre again by Lee Martin. He likes that inside move after the first of the infield whoops. He's pulled that off a couple of times, including once in the last final. Now Neumann has just established himself again, as Lee Martin has to do it all again from second position. This is the bit that I like. Those last couple of technical sections really have to be precise on the sticks. Now open it up, let it run, get it turned into the apex, straighten it up for the two whoops, make sure you fly them both, and then back again. It comes round very quickly, doesn't it? You've got to get the car stopped for that sharp right-hander, which Lee just overcooked a little bit there, was a little bit hasty getting back to the power. It's allowed Jorn Neumann to get away just a tiny bit, just looking a little bit polished on the racing line. You'd expect that where we've been indoors. Now, I have to say that it's cracking a little bit, but it's nice the way the surface is evolving through the race weekend. Oh, now I think this might be the last lap, because I'm looking at the time counting down. Yes, it will be. And if Lee Martin's got anything left in the fast draw, he's got to get it out and put it on the table now. And look, he's trying. Neumann is under pressure, and Neumann's got traffic ahead of him. Oh, he can't be distracted now. Coming into the last corner, he's going to hold on. He does. And Martin comes through into second place. So it's one win each for the former champion and the reigning champion. Jorn Neumann taking that one from Martin, and Neil Cragg in third position.
Welcome back. It's 2 down and 1 to go in the two-wheel drive European Championship, so the result still hangs in the balance. Stay tuned to find out if it'll be Lee or Jorn sitting in that champion's chair. But first, let's take a look at HBI's new electric off-road kit making its international debut at the Worlds in California.
Most drivers complain about 10-scale four-wheel is that they can't drive it at 100%. With this, they don't have to, they can just let it all out and drive as fast as they dare.
It's so much better than everything else I've driven. It's just the confidence I have in it, the durability of it, and how hard I can drive it is really exciting.
We go into a race never thinking, will the car break? We just run it. Ty can drive it the way he can, the way he wants to. He can be smooth. If he needs aggression, he can do it, and there's 100% confidence.
At the Roar Nationals, that was the very first race we ever raced this. It's never entered in a local club race or anything. Just right out of the gate, we did the Roar Nationals. So yeah, that was quite nerve-wracking, and then Ty goes out and TQs the first round by 6 seconds, so I think it was a big sigh of relief.
In a race, if Ty's in the lead, he will drive conservative like anyone else. But when it comes down to catching someone, you need to drive a car, push it to its limits. And the cars he's run, the four wheels he's run in the past, he never felt like he was always worried. He never felt he could do what he needs to do.
If you're going to race the best in the world, you need to have the best car to do it, and you need to be at your best, and everything needs to go well. Just having that peace of mind that it's not going to fall apart on you is just, every other car, I think, kind of, from what I've ran anyway, you kind of worry about that, but with this car, it's just, you just know it's going to finish.
So this is the deciding leg then. One win each for Pullman, Lee Martin and Jorn Neumann, but neither of them have been picture perfect so far. It's a simple equation. If either one of those two win, they will be the EFRA 1/10 electric off-road two-wheel drive champion for 2014. And really no one else other than these two, unless they have a complete nightmare and end up way down the field. Oh my goodness, what's happened there? Looks like Lee Martin has hit the marshal who was clearing up someone from further back down the field, and he'll rejoin. He's not going to rejoin. He's not going to rejoin because the Yokomo is damaged. So this should be an easy run to victory now then from Jorn Neumann. What was I just saying about someone finishing way down? Jorn Neumann, it's virtually been handed back to him. He does have to win it. He didn't have the greatest of results in the first heat, remember. Dropping down in that last corner melee. So he's still got a little bit of pressure. Into second place now. That looks to me. Oh, as we've got Leslie Martin back out on the circuit there. But that car is not in a good position at the moment. Took a very long time for him to get going again, and I wondered if he was struggling with a problem, but he won't go any further. There's our leader. Just flicking, trying to flick the car in, and look at the lead he's got. It's Neil Cragg in second with the Associated as he comes through from grid 4. Way back to third position, so it's really all about just watching to see if Jorn Neumann can get his concentration levels to a position where they haven't been, in fairness, for the first two heats. Has led and has made mistakes, and already look at the stuttery nature of the driving of the leader. It's almost like he's slowed down too much and his concentration's gone. You see this in full-size racing as well. Most famously, you remember Ayrton Senna going off in the lead at Monaco many years ago. Fortunately, he only had about half a block to walk to his front door and left the car nose into the railings before he went out onto the promenade. So Ronefalk loses a lap again, not being the best of finals for David Ronefalk on the Kyosho. Swede, of course. And there is the German. Where is Cragg? Cragg is just trying to close down a little bit. But you can see the pace is not there. Not there on Jorn Neumann. Now, in fairness, he's pacing himself, of course. But you've got to worry that if he does get closed down and somebody challenges, would he be able to switch back on to attack mode? And that's Ronefalk, isn't it? Who's going to unlap himself here if he's not careful. And you see, that's exactly the issue. As Ronefalk there is trying to stay out of the battle for the lead, but he doesn't know whether to unlap himself or go by, and very nearly, and I would have to say that that's not Ronefalk's fault, he's just driving his own race, but very nearly takes the leader out. Now I'm looking back now, and Neil Cragg is a very long way back, so both of those buggies behind the leader are a lap down, but barely. Almost tempted to say that if I was Jorn Neumann, I might just let those two guys go and have their battle. As they're battling for minor positions, and that is a battle behind them. And you saw the marshal there on his toes. He thought the leader was possibly going to go over. And it just doesn't look a fluid performance, does it, by Neumann? And he's staying ahead of people who are 9th and 10th, way back down the grid, but barely. He's doing enough, but barely enough. This is not the kind of run to victory that we'd expect of the reigning champion. In our Team Durango VRC Pro and JConcepts coverage of the third and decisive A-final leg of the 1/10 Euros here in Sweden. EFRA Summer European Tour, bringing us as far north as we get here on RC Racing TV. So the Durango then of the reigning champion, the German Jorn Neumann. I'm kind of worried. I hope you can tell that I keep glancing across as he starts his last lap. Surely he can't throw it away now. He looks very tense on the driver's stand, and his heart must be going, well, 19 to the dozen at the moment. As he comes round, he's less than half a lap to go. He's going to be okay. Ronefalk makes a slight mistake behind him, and Jorn Neumann has crossed the line. And Neil Cragg it was who came through into second position ahead of Petri Strom. Hupo Honigel down in fourth position. And confirmation of the overall results. It could have been Lee Martin or Jorn Neumann. It was Jorn Neumann in the end. Lee Martin, the most unfortunate man, top qualifier, hit a marshal who was recovering another car further down the field. He'll have to make do with second position. Neil Cragg in third on the overall podium.
Well, congratulations to Jorn. Now, we've had a fantastic summer of live streaming the EFRA European Championships, so let's take a sneak peek at another awesome summer season and what's coming up in future episodes of RC Racing TV. Well, that's all we've got time for on this month's episode, but remember to stay tuned every month on Motors for the most fantastic RC action in the world, or at any time on www.rcracing.tv.